Nobody actually enjoys the back-breaking labor of scrubbing a pool bottom when they could be floating in it with a cold drink. You pull off the cover and see that layer of grit, that fine silt, or the random leaves that somehow found their way in. It usually means dragging out a massive, heavy hose that tangles every 5 seconds. Not this time. I finally got my hands on a cordless vacuum that changes the whole dynamic of keeping an above-ground pool crystal clear. When you open the box, you see how simple this setup really is. You get the main vacuum unit, a sturdy telescoping pole, and a specialized filter bag. This soft, lovely, cheap mesh nets that lets the small stuff through. We're talking about a 500 mesh filter. That means it catches the tiny particles that usually just cloud up the water. Setting it up feels like snapping together building blocks. You click the brush head into place and attach the extension pole. That pole is a serious game changer because it stretches out to over 87.5 inches. You can stand in one spot and cover almost the entire floor of a standard pool without even getting your feet wet. The freedom of having no cords is something you have to feel to appreciate. There is no power cable to trip over and no suction hose tethered to your skimmer. You just charge it up and go. Speaking of charging, it only takes about 90 minutes to get a full battery. That gives you a solid hour of continuous cleaning power. Most above-ground pools take maybe 15 or 20 minutes to thoroughly sweep, so you can get multiple cleanings out of a single session. I was looking through the manual and it is actually straightforward for once. They even include a digital code you can scan if you want to see videos on how to get the most out of it. The motor has enough kick to pull up the heavy debris, but it is light enough to maneuver with one hand. You just flip the switch and watch it work. It handles the corners of the pool where the wall meets the floor perfectly. That is usually where the most gunk builds up. Having a dedicated brush head means you are scrubbing and vacuuming at the exact same time. It saves so much effort. You don't have to be a professional pool technician to figure this out. It is built for the average person who just wants to enjoy their backyard. Once you finish, you just pop out the filter bag and rinse it off with a garden hose. It is incredibly satisfying to see all that dirt wash away knowing it isn't in your swimming water anymore. This tool feels like a massive upgrade for anyone tired of the old school manual vacuuming methods. It is efficient, it is fast, and it is surprisingly powerful for such a compact device. You get the charger and everything you need right in the box. No extra trips to the hardware store for adapters or special fittings. It just works right away. I honestly think this is the smartest investment for anyone with a seasonal pool setup. It turns a chore into a quick task that you might even find a little bit fun. The build quality feels solid enough to last through many summers of heavy use. You really notice the difference in water clarity when you use a high-quality filter like this one. It takes out the stuff you can barely see but definitely feel on your feet. If you are still fighting with hoses and manual pumps, you are living in the past. This is the modern way to keep things tidy. It makes the whole maintenance routine feel less like a second job. You spend less time working and more time actually swimming. That is the whole point of having a pool in the first place. This vacuum makes that possible without the usual headache. Think about the last time you tried to prime a vacuum hose by holding it against the return jet while trying not to lose suction. It is a nightmare of air bubbles and frustration. With a cordless unit, all of that nonsense just disappears. You aren't fighting with the laws of physics or water pressure. You are just gliding over the liner and picking up every bit of sand and sediment. The weight of the device is balanced so it stays planted on the bottom instead of floating up. That is a huge deal when you are reaching for the far side of a large pool. It stays where you need it. The mesh filter is fine enough to handle that pesky pollen that settles in the spring. It also handles the small bugs that the skimmer misses. When you realize you can clean the whole pool in the time it takes to brew a pot of coffee, you will never go back to the old way. This is about reclaiming your weekends. It is about having a pool that is always ready for a swim at a moment's notice. No more planning a cleaning day. Just grab the vacuum and spend 5 minutes giving the floor a quick once over. It really is that easy and that effective